Next, I would like to introduce our second Game Changer honoree, or honorees rather, as this award is being given to one of the most critically acclaimed television shows of the year. History was made when Anna Sawai, being the first Asian performer to win an Emmy for lead actress in a drama series, and Hiroyuki Sanada, the first Japanese and second Asian male to win the Emmy for lead drama actor. Here to introduce the creators of the show that won a record 18 Emmys in one season is an actor, activist, and 2023 Sydney Peace Prize laureate. Beyond her many roles on the small and big screen, she is also a fierce advocate for disenfranchised communities, especially Iranian youth, women, and prisoners of conscience. Please join me in welcoming Nazanin Boniadi.
Good evening. What an honor to be here with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to present the Asia Entertainment Game Changer Award to two extraordinary people and cherished friends, Justin Marks and Rachel Kondo. Together, they are the creative force behind, yes, please give it up for these two. Together, they are the creative force behind Shogun, a series that has not only captivated audiences worldwide, but has also made Emmy history, as we heard, winning a record-breaking 18 awards in its first season. It's no wonder that audiences and critics alike are eagerly awaiting what's next. But Shogun is only the latest chapter in a journey filled with talent, dedication, and vision. I first witnessed Justin's brilliance when he cast me in Counterpart, a show that he brought to life with incredible nuance and complexity, earning it a rare 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Indeed, for both of its seasons, not only one, but both of its seasons. For those of us lucky enough to work with him back then, we knew his genius was bound for recognition on a grand scale. I can see him cringing. He hates it when people speak like this about him. And then there's Rachel, who brings a rare depth and wisdom to everything she touches. In the many lunches and dinners we've shared, I remember hearing her speak passionately about adapting Shogun, not only as a professional project, but as a heartfelt tribute to her heritage. She and Justin brought that vision to life while having two babies and moving to Hawaii and Vancouver, embodying strength, dedication, and heart at every turn. Justin and Rachel are far more than just exceptional creators. They are bridge builders, translating cultural depth, authenticity, and humanity into stories that resonate universally. They remind us that there is so much more to be found than lost in translation. They are storytellers with a profound empathy that touches not only their work, but every interaction they share with others, and I can vouch for that on a very personal level. To my talented, compassionate, and inspiring friends, Justin and Rachel, congratulations. You have transformed the landscape of entertainment, and we are all better for it. Not only did you make Emmy history, but your efforts truly embody the spirit of this award, promoting diversity, elevating storytelling, and pioneering new creative approaches. Thank you for bringing your artistry, kindness, and humanity to our screens and into our lives. Let's take a glimpse at that artistry and dedication in action.
We haven't even given out a single award tonight, and yet Shogun has already made Emmy history.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Anna Sawai. And the Emmy goes to Shogun.
To be able to work with this amount of Japanese actors telling a Japanese story with an international crew to a worldwide audience really shows how far we've come.
We try to make authentic as much as possible because it's very important to introduce our culture to the world correctly.
It means the world to see people who look like me, but also speak my language, represented dominantly on a project of this scale.
つまり、日本じゃなくてよその国で日本の時代劇が作られるっていう、こんなに本格的に作られることは多分今までなかったと思いますね。日本が舞台で。
In past cinema or TV, we have not seen the complexities of Japanese women. I'm so grateful that finally we're able to give this version.
To show your true heart is to risk your life.
To get those things right onto every detail was a critical aspect of making sure this show is as authentic as it can be.
I'm sure that I'll look back and be proud of everything that we have been able to accomplish.
Shogun. Shogun.
Shogun. It's been called the best show on TV right now, and I can agree with that.
Shogun is TV's most epic series since Game of Thrones.
25 nominations, 18 wins.
First time a non-English speaking show has won for best drama.
Broke a lot of records yesterday and it made history.
あなた方から受け継いだ情熱と夢は海を渡り国境を越えました。
Thank you so much.
I thought we had to take a picture, sorry. Thank you for this. Yeah. I'll go first. Rachel and I have a tradition of we alternate between who gets to be funny and then who gets to do the heartfelt part. So I get to do the funny part right now, which is not going to be funny. Rachel's better at it. I will just thank you to the Asia Society for this, for supporting storytellers and filmmakers who tell stories in this very, very in-demand world of areas outside of what we would consider the American mainstream, which I hate that is still something that we even consider when telling stories. I really thank you to Naz for that beautiful introduction, and I'm reminded, Naz, our first conversation early on when you came on to Counterpart was actually about exactly this area where I think you had just been coming off of Homeland and were very well-deserved and recognized for that brilliant performance. That's why I cast you. But you were concerned at that time too of being typecast in these as an Iranian woman in these kinds of Middle Eastern roles, and I said, well, wait, that's no problem. We can just ignore it. We can just pretend, it was not written that way, and we can just not execute it that way. And you said, no, don't do that. Give me the character, but let who I am add to that character and inform that character. And I took that with me from that day to where Rachel and I are today, when really working with this idea of how inclusivity is not something we do to make ourselves feel better as a community. Inclusivity is something we do because it makes our stories better, because it makes our characters more interesting. It brings in the specificity of diversity, a spirit that is what we really want as an audience, something that we've never seen before. We're accepting this on behalf of the cast and crew of Shogun, so I feel obligated to tell you something of who at least the cast and crew are. We are an international group of Americans, Canadians, Europeans, and yes, Japanese, working together to tell this story, which is, I think, very different from what one might expect with a story like this. It is not East. It is not West. It was truly, in our vision and our star and producer Hiro Sanada's vision, East meets West, which is something that I really hope to see more of in the future, of the act of conversation that brings us together. There are certain myths that they will tell you. I don't think anyone in this room needs to be told why these stories are important to tell, but the only thing I could end my portion, at least, of the very funny part that I'm giving, sorry, Rachel, you have to add emotion to this, is there are lies they will tell you when you're trying to tell these stories. And I wanted to just dispel two myths. One, that subtitles are too difficult to overcome to bring an audience. That is completely false. Completely false. In fact, we have flat screen TVs to thank for this. Today, truly, without flat screen TVs, we would not have speakers so bad that have forced all of us to turn on the subtitles just to watch anything, whether it's in English or otherwise. So audiences are used to this. This is actually what we said. I'm not kidding. This is what our conversations with FX were like when we were talking about why this show could be subtitled and it could still succeed. And the other and the last one is the most important thing, because I think it embodies the spirit of our crew and how we went about making this show. They will tell you that authenticity, like the kind that we worked very hard for 5+ years to represent on screen, is something that does not come cheap, that it has to cost a lot of money to do it. And I say that is so wrong, so wrong. Our show, make no mistake, was expensive. Crane shots are expensive. Visual effects are expensive. Changing my mind at the last minute and doing something differently, that's very expensive. Authenticity, this process that allowed us through technology to bring Japanese crew into our process, not the week we were shooting or the day we were shooting to come and give us a check mark to say that that looks right, but 10 months before we started shooting, to work as our partners, collaborating together to create something that felt true to their experience, that doesn't cost more money. That's just more conversation and more thought to it. So I really encourage everyone in that process to remember these ways to dispel these myths, because if we can do this, we can show that these stories can be told in great ways without worrying about how much more money it's going to cost. So with this, I guess I will pass it to Rachel, my wife and partner, and the reason I'm in this project to begin with. She is truly the voice of this show when it comes to the writing and the words and the stories that you've seen. I'm going to do the emotional part. And thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. A couple of weeks ago, Justin and I were on Oahu, and we were speaking to a group of people, and Justin said I should go first. So I went first, and I thought it was funny to just roast him. And I spent my minutes roasting him, and I thought I was pretty funny. And then he spent his minutes delivering a very heartfelt tribute to me. The now asshole. Like, I was like, what? So point being that it's really important to sync up on tone before you talk to people. The other important lesson is to sync up on content, because I had wanted to talk about the virtues of inclusivity in production. And so much so that I wrote my speech about that. And as I read it to Justin in the car, he said, I'm going first with my speech about inclusivity. So I said to him, thanks a lot. I don't know what to say. And he said, why don't you just share something about yourself? Imagine that. And so I just wanted to say that this past year has been an incredibly strange time, wonderful time, of course, but strange in that, a lot of what has happened has really kind of jostled the inner working, the internal wiring of how a lot of us operate. And I'm a girl from Pukalani, Maui. It's like this big. And I'm the kind of girl who always wanted to leave the island. I'm the kind of girl who only read historical romance novels and would go to the Kahului library, and the librarian, I would check out a stack of historical romance novels like this high, and he would give me eyes like this. Kind of gross, right? But anyway, I'm also the girl who when I looked at the television back in the day, I only saw Christy Yamaguchi, who looked like me, and I wanted to be her so badly, and guess what? There are no ice rinks on Maui. Bummer, right? So I had to create like a I don't know, a different path, and that takes so long, and you just spend so much time, or I did at least, I spent so much time wanting to be anybody other than me. And I wanted to be anywhere else other than where I was. And these years later, I know I'm only 25, and it's only been a few years, but it really is no wonder that for so long I never saw any of myself in any of the stories out there. So this past year has been wild because it was the first time that I really tried to locate myself as a woman, as a woman of Japanese descent, as a woman from Hawaii, and just as a human being. And lo and behold, a few people liked it. And I mean, it's wild. So the point is, I learned the lesson that if we don't see ourselves in anything that's out there, then it's really our job to write ourselves in, put ourselves in it. And I hope to keep doing it. And so I just really want to thank the Asia Society and all of you, because truly, if it weren't for people like you, and with the support of groups like Asia Society, it's how would any of us know to keep going at that? So thank you so much for having us, and that's all. Thank you.